G'day guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to share with you guys our holiday through Thailand. So me and my girlfriend have never been before. We actually booked part of the trip through Intrepid. So 12 days with Intrepid and then 6 days at the end, just us in Phuket. But basically this is my first, I guess, non-tech related content in quite a while. And so I wanted to share with you guys where we went, what we did, what food we ate, and also the tech that we took along the journey. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. It's 2 parts, so make sure you watch both of them because there's lots of good stuff. And pretty soon I'll be heading to Taiwan as well for the Tech Content Creator Festival. So get subscribed if you don't want to miss those videos. They'll be coming out very soon, and let's begin. So starting off in Sydney Airport with our July suitcases, absolutely awesome pieces of kit. Landed in Singapore at about 3 AM. This was our stopover. The Jewel, that amazing piece of architecture, wasn't actually running, but we did get a few hours sleep at the Yotel Air capsule airport within the terminal, so that was nice to get a bit of rest, a bit of sleep before waking up. And again, the Jewel wasn't running in the morning. If you haven't seen the Jewel, by the way, go and check it out, it's incredible. Then trying to find our terminal, eventually found it. Singapore airport's huge. Landed in Bangkok, got our suitcases, got in the cab, and the humidity just sort of hit us straight away. It was such a hot country. But basically this is us on the way to our hotel, going to our welcome dinner with the group on night number 1. Durian everywhere on the streets. This is the view from our window in our hotel, and then we hopped on a boat to take us to feed some catfish near the first temple that we went to. Over 40,000 temples in Thailand as well, which is just incredible. I mean, it's a real Buddhist country, so that's why there are so many temples. It's such an old country, lots of history, but cruising up the river in this little boat with a truck engine on the back, going down and sort of, I don't know, seeing how the people live was actually a really cool first day. But the storm that was sort of approaching was getting pretty crazy. The clouds were getting very ominous, very dark and grey. You know that something's about to happen. But then after we sort of done the precinct, we went and basically got a bus ride like all the locals would, just a few blocks down to go and then check out a 44-meter long Buddha that was laying down. So Buddhas are all over, Thailand. You're going to see them standing and laying and in different poses. This one was laying down though, 44 meters long. Pretty insane to see. And then after that, we went and checked out a place that had all these different ceramics. We did some painting. We actually got to paint our own sort of like cup and saucers, put our initials on them with a signature to actually send them home as part of the trip as well, which was pretty cool. By the way, the footage that you're seeing, pretty much all of it so far has been shot on an iPhone 14 Pro attached to a DJI Osmo 6 gimbal, which is like a mobile gimbal, and we're pretty much shooting everything off the iPhone at 4K 30. So you don't need to have crazy cameras to do like travel stuff. Literally just our iPhone is the main thing that we're using at this point. So after we finished putting our, I guess, final touches on our ceramics for them to be posted home, we actually stopped quickly at the Kanchanaburi War Cemetery before heading over to the bridge over the River Kwai, which is actually like a really nice spot. We probably spent like maybe a good hour and a half here. Really hot day. There was a lady on the bridge actually selling a bag of eels, literally like fresh eels out of the river in a plastic bag, 40-degree heat. She was yelling out to everyone, bag of eels, but like beyond that, actually it was a really nice time. Seeing the long-tail boats go down the river. There was actually trains coming over the bridge as well. So there's little nooks that you could basically stand out so you could watch the train go by without having to get off the bridge. So that was actually a pretty cool moment. Then, we could just hang around there for a little bit, get some snacks, check out, the food, just sort of take it easy. And then we actually went to the Deva Mantra Resort. That's where we sort of checked in for the night, had a quick dip in the pool. Pool was unbelievable, but the temperature in the water actually was probably the same as the air temperature. So even though you're thinking you're going to get, you know, a bit of a cool down, it was pretty much the exact same temperature in the pool as it was out in the air. So pretty funny, but still nice to have a bit of a swim. After we did that, we actually got our transport to take us down with the tour guide Tony to one of the night markets, where we had probably the best pad thai we had the whole trip. Probably the best pad thai in our life. It was about $5. Thousands and thousands of people were out that night. It was actually really sick. You could, you know, eat the food on the street, grab a few beers, try out the street food, lots of things to buy, like your insects and all that kind of stuff. But it was just cool. It was a cool night. Lots of people, lots of families out, and everything was like really cheap and just like a really nice time to sort of, I don't know, get out of the hotel and just do something a little bit different, not super touristy. You know, everyone is just sort of getting their dinner, going about their business. But this market was just insane, pretty overwhelming actually. Then the next day we went to the Erawan National Park, again super hot, to go and check out the waterfalls and actually have a bit of a swim where you could let the fish, you know, bite your feet. But I mean, I wasn't really too into that. So after a few minutes we jumped out and we headed to Hellfire Pass, which was, you know, again, all at the sacrifice of POWs. You could actually see Burma off in the distance as well. And after Hellfire Pass, we actually got a train, which is like a train that all the locals use to get around, and went for a bit of a train journey for about an hour. And that was actually like really nice as well. The actual train, I don't think it went more than like 50 kilometers an hour. I don't know how old the train was. It definitely felt like it was maybe 50, 60 years old. But this train basically takes you down past and along the River Kwai, which, you know, for a lot of people is like a must-see, especially in Thailand. So really nice day, really hot, but actually inside of the train, it was pretty comfortable. You know, not a lot of people hopped on when we got on, so we had the whole carriage to ourselves. But as the train, you know, went on, and this is the River Kwai here, as it went on and we went through all the different stops, you know, more and people started to fill up the train. And you know, still nothing like peak hour that you see in, like, you know, the cities or anything like that. But pretty funny seeing the ceiling fans up on the ceiling of the train as well. But yeah, it was a really cool time. Nice train ride. So leaving our hotel now, it's day 5. We're leaving Kanchanaburi and we're actually heading up to Ayutthaya. So by the way, the Deva Mantra Resort was probably the nicest hotel, I think, out of all the hotels that we stayed at, to be honest. Maybe except for the one at Phuket, but just really nice. And what we did in Ayutthaya, we actually started off by heading to this village that hand weaves all of their fabric. Every family sort of contributes a different color or a different type of material or a different garment. And then after that, we actually went to one of the farms where they showed us how they collect palm sugar, which they use a lot in their cooking, especially when they're making desserts. So we could actually see the palm sugar, how it's, you know, farmed, how it's grown, and then we actually saw them put it into a dessert that we actually got to eat later on that day, which was actually really nice. After we spent the time at the farm, we then went to see some temples, and you're probably going to hear me say temples a lot throughout this video, but these temples were back from the 14th century. If you can sort of wrap your head around that one, they've been through a lot. There was actually a Buddha there that was 19 meters high. Pretty incredible. But after we checked out these temples in Ayutthaya, we went and had some amazing food. There was boat noodles. Alexandra's rolling up a joint here, which he then eats. Kidding. This is made of palm sugar. But then after we sort of had this amazing lunch, we went to a temple, did a bit of a, I guess, not a sacrifice, a bit of a donation, I should say, to the Buddhists. And then later that night, we actually got a little bit of a boat ride down the river, and we saw those same temples that we saw in the day by night, whilst having some food, amazing food, really chill, just a nice way to finish the day before we start day 6, which is Ayutthaya to Sukhothai. Train station. This one's a little bit more modern than the last one that we got down the River Kwai. Got some coffee, some good coffee. It's a little bit hard to find good coffee in Thailand when you're sort of traveling, you know, all through these sort of smaller villages and stuff. But this was like a couple hours on the train, and I actually really enjoyed this. So after being on the train for about 4 or 5 hours, we finally got to Sukhothai. We got to the Legenda Sukhothai Resort. Really pretty resort. We chilled by the pool, had a bit of a swim, got a massage, went out for dinner, and we actually went and learned how to make green papaya salad. This is actually part of the itinerary. There was like a cooking class that was being held, ran by a chef in her own home. It was super private, but actually a really nice experience, and that set us up for the next day. We went on a bit of a bike ride to one of the, you know, the oldest temples in the whole friggin' country. It was established around the 13th century from, you know, one of the first ancient capitals of Siam. If you haven't heard of that, go and Google it. But this is a heritage listed historical park. So really cool. Got to go for a big bike ride around. Lots of fun. Very hot. Lots of temples. Obviously they've been through heaps, so they don't look as amazing as the ones that are, you know, more recent, but still I think very impressive. So day 6 and 7 in Sukhothai was really nice. And then after, I guess, day 7, we started to head towards Mai Tang. They were like, I got so excited. Hey babe, chuck an arm out. Chuck an arm out. Do one hand up.
Fan room, okay? Fan room.
Oh, it's a fan, so AC.
Yeah.
Then morning of day 8, we actually got up at sunrise and we actually went to one of the Buddhist temples to do a morning donation. And you know, this is something that happens every morning in Buddhist culture, so that was actually a really special moment to be a part of. It wasn't actually part of the itinerary, it was just something that our tour guide Tony wanted to go and do. He was actually a Buddhist himself, and so you basically go and donate these little parcels which might contain orange juice or toothpaste or 2-minute noodles or phone chargers. Literally it could be whatever you want, but the Buddhists, the monks that are there, they are actually relying on people from the community to donate, because without those donations they wouldn't literally have food and, you know, the necessities that they would need to go about day to day. So a really, I guess, essential service. Once we, did that morning donation, we walked around a little bit more. Then we headed towards our next stop, our lodge, which was called Lisu Lodge. Now this is actually part of, I guess, a little tribe from what's called the Lisu people. This is about 7 or 8 hours worth of driving, but we finally got to the Lisu Lodge, checked in. This is, I guess, kind of off the grid stuff. Like there was electricity and water and all that type of stuff, but no TVs or anything like that. Had a really nice dinner. We're now sort of heading up towards like the north of Thailand at this point. Really, really nice time though. And then we went actually like white water rafting. This is day 9. Heading down the river, got to see a sneak peek of some elephants, did a bit more like home cooking. I guess we did a bit of a barbecue as well. We learned how to make their sticky rice like on fire, like with the coals and everything else. So that was actually a really nice day, but also extremely hot to be doing a barbecue in like 40-degree heat. But they didn't seem to mind. I think this is, you know, for them just the normal sort of way of life. But getting to see the sort of elephants play in the river, like up north is, I guess, where the elephants are primarily, I guess, located or found, or where you can find them. It's where a lot of people go to see the elephants, and so getting to see a bit of a sneak peek of the elephants in the river was really, really amazing. But make sure you, I guess, watch part 2 where you'll be seeing a lot more of them.
Yeah. Don't forget to smile. Oh yeah. Already.
Now, wrapping up day 9, this is something that we actually didn't expect to happen, but we actually got a barbecue for dinner, and we were, I guess, treated in a way to a performance from the long neck people, which were part of the Lisu tribe. So they've actually traveled down from the mountains, like they live, you know, way away from where we were, but you can see like their necks have been sort of elongated because they've got these brass, I guess circles that sort of are stacked up to sort of help over time elongate their neck, and they put them around their knees and their elbows. And you know, the whole theory behind it is it sort of apparently makes them, not apparently, in their culture it makes them more attractive. But then the other part is they say that going back a long time they used to wear these around their neck to stop them from maybe being attacked or bitten by tigers, because tigers are, you know, very much a part of the landscape for these people and where they're from. But you know, this was something that was really, really cool. You actually got to see them dance and do a song. They had little gifts that you could buy, so we, you know, went and donated some money, and you know, I danced as best as I could to try and learn the song. But it was actually a really cool time. The tour guide that day wasn't Tony, it was this other guy, I can't remember his name, but it was actually a really, really nice night, and the food was great, and just overall just a really cool way to wrap up the day before we headed off to day 10, where we're heading to Chiang Mai, which we'll see more of in part 2, where we went to the Elephant Nature Park and was just like the best day probably of the entire trip.